Good morning, welcome to 1 Million Cups, everybody. My name is Isabel Prosper. I am the lead organizer for 1 Million Cups Dallas. First, we want to get one important announcement out of the way, which is parking. If you have parked in the lot just right behind us here, you will need to move your car, please, because you will be towed. Those spaces are for staff of this building only. And next up, we have a check-in point here when you walk in. So if you are not already part of our community officially, we welcome you to please sign in at the front desk. So what is 1 Million Cups? 1 Million Cups is all about bringing a community of people together that love entrepreneurship, want to know about entrepreneurship, have their own businesses already, and really just want to know what's going on in the Dallas community. This is the place to be. We started here 4 years ago, it'll be 5 years this year. 1 Million Cups has been around. This says 5 years, but it's actually coming up 6 years, the entire organization, based in Kaufman, Missouri. They basically had like less than 10 people that showed up to the very first event, and they did this because they wanted to meet entrepreneurs in the community, and basically they didn't know enough people. And anyways, when they got this going, it really caught on. And it's caught on so much, it's now in more than 160 markets across the country, and it's continuing to grow. Just a quick announcement, they're planning for Arlington, so if anybody lives in the Arlington area, we welcome you to let us know that you have interest. They're looking for volunteers. They cannot kick off the official launch until they have enough support in that community. So we're growing, and it's because of all of you, so thank you. To your phone, and you can connect with people there. Our presenters today are Memz and WutzGood. I think I've covered everything so far, so if I've missed anything, will catch it during the halftime. We'll welcome our first presenter right now. The way this flows is each presenter has 6 minutes to present their business, and then we have 15 minutes of Q&A. We do have a hard stop at 6 minutes, so it's nothing personal, it's just how we do it in Dallas here. So let's welcome our first presenter with a round of applause, and we'll stand up for Colby. Welcome from Memz.
Thank you. Everybody doing all right this morning? Really excited to be here, to be honest. I'm part of a company called Memz, direct affiliation with Insane Labs out of Atlanta. We have excellent affiliations with Microsoft, who was also affiliated with Azure. They developed a platform that identifies data and basically simplifies it in presentation form. We're using this platform to implement into various types of industries that I feel like we have high volume and be able to use it accordingly. So we're quantifying businesses by simplifying data. Interactive platform for businesses and consumers to incentivize repeat business while simplifying data, as well as implement an autonomous digital marketing plan. So what this does essentially is identifies key performance indicators for any location. For example, any consumer organization, for example, Starbucks, if they have a time of the day that they feel like they're not generating enough traffic, 2 to 4, for example, is the industry standard for most restaurants. If there's a way that we can generate more traffic, more consumerism during this time, that would be great. So what we're doing is identifying these key performance indicators with an autonomous approach. We have technologies, geofencing technology, that allows these businesses to track this traffic and basically pull this back to their system with an autonomous approach. By doing this, we can implement different various types of digital marketing and develop digital marketing campaigns hands-free, which is great for the small business owner as they continue to scale. They don't have to touch anything, and all of their data and all of their marketing is done right before their eyes. So consumer awareness, as well as user interface to identify these specials, create a mutual beneficial relationship with incentives and activity with the user interface. As I mentioned, the various industries that we're discussing, the entertainment industry, huge, concerts, festivals, events, it's all over the place. You can't open your eyes without seeing something on the internet revolving around music or entertainment. The industry is gaining large attraction, various regions to develop large data processes and efficiencies for scalability. 3 S's of business: sales, system, and scale. So what that means is essentially find your market, make your sales, implement your processes, your system, make sure it works, scale it. After that, we're going to go to restaurants, we're going to go to retail, And basically the options are endless. So as I mentioned, entertainment, restaurant, retail, a couple features of my business. This concept would be one, location services, allowing friends, businesses to understand where they're at, media sharing, vendor list location, and event hosting. So you can basically drop information, you can understand where your market is, if it's a large entertainment group, where's the traffic going? What type of vendors are they utilizing? Are they going to the bathroom 5 times a day? Are they going to Coors Light, Miller Lite, Bud Light? What types of artists are there? When are they going? And what types of habits during your venue are they having? And eventually with that type of data, you can eventually simplify that and plan your next event accordingly based on that data. The airdrop capabilities, as I mentioned, for restaurants or retail groups, shout outs, advertisement, promotion codes. If you walk into your local Starbucks, for example, I know Kevin loves his vanilla bean lattes, extra cream, just a little cream, not too much cream. Walks in there, grabs that, shows Starbucks on their autonomous marketing scheme that we just talked about. He gets some type of incentive for implementing that data. That's going to be huge for a large scale. One person could show them the direction for the next step. Imagine if all 15 of us got that vanilla bean latte. So also we have a heat map capability, which you'll see in just a second, which identifies the volume for each traffic. Anybody here a transplant in Dallas or somewhere else? Okay, when you first got here, you probably didn't know where you were at, right? Where the hotspots are. We have a heat map capability that shows us where the hotspots are. The more traffic that's generated within that location, obviously the more red it's going to be. More heat, it's hot. That blue spot, it's probably understood. So as you walk through new markets, you generate new leads, you're able to kind of identify which places are best, how much data is being collected, and how efficient your systems really are, which goes back to sales, system, and scalability. And this is a preview of kind of the data that we're mentioning. So the heat map capabilities, this was on the top right, as you can see what we mean, where traffic is going, how often, different types of data that we're collecting, profiles, so your gender, your ethnicity, your residence, where you're from, the frequencies, the purchases you're making, how often you utilize the specials, common interest among people. For example, people that go into Einstein Bros also go to Starbucks. How often do they go from one to the other? And different ways that you can implement specials to attract your users going from point A to point B to continue that traction. I'm already working with a couple different affiliations right now. The marketing director of the Dallas Cowboys has already discussed different event planning schedules, and as well as Lights All Night, who's owned by Highland Concerts, Greek Productions, which is a variation of small parties for like fraternities and stuff like that. Basically the market for being large events, small events, and then PSG is more of a global presence. And then, like I mentioned before, Insane Labs is my development team. They've been a great partner so far, introducing me to some people over at Microsoft who have been extremely helpful in implementing Azure, which is a data analytics program, and also Examiner, which is a cross-platform development, so I'm able to utilize this on iOS as well as Android. I have a pricing schedule for conversations later on, but this is my presentation, and I really appreciate everybody's time. Thank you.
Great job. All right. Well, we start out every 1 million cups, and after a presentation, we have 15 minutes of Q&A. And the first question that we ask you is, what can we as a community do for you?
As a community, well, one, I appreciate everybody's attention. For one, that's the best present I can get at this point. Two, if you have any recommendations for LOIs, I would really like to implement this in maybe some small businesses, get some data out on the floor, show that this is get a proof of concept. Anywhere that I can implement this concept and show that we have a service that can really be it can be utilized and it can make your business more efficient, that would be great.
Thanks. First question.
Yes, sir.
Are you collecting personally identifiable information, like you know it's me, or you just know that somebody was in that spot?
Yes, that's exactly right. So logging into the application, you're going through Facebook like most do. So with that sign in, you know that, what's your name, sir?
Michael.
We know that it's Michael. We know that Michael is from here, you know, you're a male. All of that basic information is already implemented in the back office function.
So I have to affirmatively log in and agree that you can do this?
Right, but once you log in, it's more of a back office. It runs in the back office, and so for example, if I were to walk into Starbucks, you don't have to be logged in for you to utilize those specials. It's already running in your phone.
All right, next question. Please remember also to introduce yourself and what company you're with or what industry you're in as well. All right, any questions or even feedback on this, on the presentation or the product?
Can you let us know if the business is, like, you've already launched and this is running, or are you still in the phase of pitching this business?
So I have a working prototype now. Basically what we're trying to do right now is find some money to get from point A to point B. At this point, we're trying to go into full development mode. We are past prototype stage. And as I mentioned, I already have affiliations that are ready to move. It's just getting that capital working in a startup environment. I'm sure all of y'all know what I'm talking about.
Hi, just a quick suggestion on
Yes,
your,
sir.
just a quick suggestion on your presentation. You have a lot of small text throughout your presentation, and it's difficult. I'm old. I have bad eyes. It's difficult to read, and I'm sure when you, it's great for like investor presentation, if you know somebody pitch deck in front of somebody, but when you're presenting, you know, with in a big room, it's kind of hard.
I really appreciate it. Honestly, I think I have good vision. I was up here even squinting a little bit, so I appreciate the feedback.
All right, next question.
Hi, Brian Tracy with SMC Squared. Explain the relationship with Insane Lab. Just what do they do, and how does that relationship work?
They're just my development team. I was referred to them by a friend, and they do have affiliations with Microsoft and Xamarin. I felt like with the resources they have and the guidance that they give me at first, I'm really big on brand loyalty. So they were with me from the beginning, you know, and because of the loyalty they showed me, they're my development team through and through. They're good people, good guys, and great people, a great team that you know, a lot more experience than I have in that space. That's for sure.
Don't mean to hog this, but what's your background and how much are you charging? What's your, and you said you're looking for some money. How much money? Those three questions.
You know, as far as how much money I need, I feel like that's a conversation we should definitely have another time. But you know, my prototype stage is complete, and then so I already have a, for example, go back right here. I know it's hard to see, but this would be a subscription service. Total overall cost for the business with everything done is probably going to be just on the high end of 100. And as you can see here, just it's a subscription service with just 50 subscribers to be able to be in the green within 1 year. So it's $200 initial cost with a $150 maintenance fee. With that compounded from 50 subscribers comes out to $100,000. So within 1 year, we'd essentially be in the green. And after that, my overhead is only $70 a month with my affiliation with Microsoft, which is just a $70 maintenance fee for my cloud service provider.
Good morning, Rodney Wright, the New York
What's up,
Life.
Rodney?
How's it going? Can you talk a little bit about how this started? I mean, why did you want to do this, and how did you get into making this concept?
Well, you know, even in school, I went to Texas Tech, Reckham. You know, a big thing that people always do, you know, concerts, restaurant, retail, it's a demand, it's a market that's never going to go away. I was, you know, one of the consumers. And you know, to keep those type of businesses alive, you need to understand your metrics. You know, how much traffic are you generating? Who's your market? What type of product is keeping your business alive? And as you get further along in your career, you know, you try to monetize everything you see and do. And so, obviously, data is a new commodity. It's almost more valuable than oil these days. So, with that being said, I tried to implement that type of concept into maybe like a digital marketing concept. Started networking a little bit with a few of my affiliates that are already in the entertainment, restaurant, and retail industry, and we kind of put our ideas together. When I say we, they were more or less just an idea. I do own 100% of this company. I haven't given any equity out just yet, but to answer your question, it was just an accumulation of ideas and concepts, and I plan to continue to do that as we get stronger.
Next question. All right. Okay, thanks.
Appreciate all the questions, guys.
Hey, my name is Rocky. Is this thing basically work when I walk into a business, or is it constantly collecting information from any participant in the application? Like sometimes I'll mention cat food and it shows up on my Facebook or something where it's a little bit intrusive. And is it constantly notifying you throughout the day, like, hey, there's a Starbucks around the corner, or this and that? Or is it immediately on presence only when I walk into a business that you've actually made a business relationship with?
Right. It would be the second portion of your question. So it'd be we have a geo-mapping, geo-fencing technology that allows a certain perimeter to be engaged. Once that user is engaged within that vicinity, all of his traffic, all of his activity, whether it's purchasing or wandering within the vicinity, is tracked. But it would not, for example, it's not like the Big Brother kind of idea with Siri or the Amazon thing, to where it just tracks everything that you do. But we're working on something now to where, based on your consistent traffic, if you were to walk by that Starbucks every morning, they'll start notifying you with specials once you get closer to that vicinity.
We have time for about 1 to 2 more questions. Last call. All right, let's give him a hand. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate it.
Hey everyone. So before we move on, we would like to actually thank our sponsors. So first of all, as one of the major pillars for 1 Million Cups, which is the coffee, our coffee sponsors for the month is bb&t. And on behalf of them, I have a short message for you guys. It's, at bb&t, we focus on really getting to know your business. That type of understanding helps us find unexpected opportunities for your business and make the most of your hard-earned money. When so many things require attention, isn't it nice to know you have ours? bb&t, all we see is you. And we have Kurtu back. You were missed. You were really missed.
bb&t right here, hello.
And yeah, I'm sorry for that. If you have any other questions, you could actually hang back and talk to him regarding the bb&t. And so we would also like to thank the deck for giving us the venue for 1 Million Cups. Thank you, deck. And yeah, and Michael K. Brunner for the videos, and you can find the videos online at the YouTube channel. And moving on to the next presenter, it would be WutzGood. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. WutzGood. And if you all can stand up and give it on. Give a loud
Thank you.
So by show of hands, how many of you have seen Chef's Table? Yeah, that's good. Well, for those of you who don't know, Chef's Table is a Netflix docuseries that profiles world-renowned chefs. It's by no means your average food TV special. It's visually impactful and highly psychological. It is so good. I got through a few episodes of the first season and I realized 3 things, okay? 1, I was hungry. I mean, look at that. 2, I didn't need one written review to tell me that I wanted to visit each restaurant on that show. And 3, it's not just about the food, it's about the experience. See, it's the experience that can take your restaurant to a whole new level. Now, today's restaurateurs have it tough, and the problems are the same across the board. Consumer-generated review platforms like Yelp or Foursquare don't allow you to control the image of your brand. And followers, it can take months, even years to grow a following. And without followers, you have no reach. And to gain reach, you need more time or money. And time in itself, for this fast-paced industry, time is golden. So having a measurable return on everything you do is key. But let's dig a little bit. According to Zagat and Forbes, 75% of people who browse food photos say they've chosen a place to eat based on social media. And 77% of consumers say they've been convinced to purchase a product or service by watching a video. This means that 3/4 of you are influenced by social media and video. Yet we're still using written reviews to find places to eat. I mean, say what you will about millennials, but who's got time for all of this? Show me the experience before I arrive, and we can speed up this decision-making process, and that's what WutzGood does. We drive traffic and increase revenue for restaurants through real-time visual content. We enable the restaurateur to regain control of their brand image by publishing chef's table quality moments that truly showcase the experience they have to offer. And those moments are published to an open network, connecting more restaurants to more potential customers locally. No followers needed. But here's the best part. We deliver insights that offer a clear understanding of our application's effectiveness. So not just the vanity metrics, but the secondary actions like calls, directions, and visits to the location. Now, it's about visibility, right? With WutzGood, restaurants will no longer get lost within a directory or listing interface, like Yelp. And it's no secret or surprise that Yelp's reputation in this industry is not the best. In fact, it sucks, right? Just say it. So who are the alternatives? Well, we'll put Google over here, and we'll put Facebook over here. Google does an incredible job of providing insights for their local business listings. And Facebook, which is highly preferred among restaurateurs for that user engagement. From our research across 45 restaurants through Dallas and Austin, we found that not one of them know how likes, followers, and comments translate into dollars. So we're the hybrid. Restaurant owners are spending 3 to 6% of revenues on marketing, and as video grows as a conversion tool, so does the importance of a shareable atmosphere and ambiance, which is cited as one of 3 key success factors for single location, full service restaurants. Now, our focus is on growing the client base and scalability, and that means teaming up with the market leaders, the trendsetters, and even the Yelp victims, or 2 to 4 star restaurants in Austin, Texas that received a 1-star review because they wouldn't turn the Oklahoma Sooner game on. It's ridiculous. Now, PR firms and hospitality groups can seize our white glove subscription model, and this will allow them to upload, post, download, schedule content, and even seize one of our content creators for on-demand content creation. We've raised a seed round of $80,000, and as we polish up our MVP, we look to launch on March 17th in an open beta, so I invite you guys all to download. And we have 32 restaurants already on board, ready to launch. We'll scale this in 3 phases, focusing first on driving engagement to our business-generated content, then localizing the experience in pockets throughout Austin, and monetization will follow thereafter. We have an outstanding team. My background is in marketing, content marketing and branding. My co-founder has extensive experience in mobile and web development. That's the squad right there. And this is complemented by the advisors we have on board. We have a Yahoo entrepreneur who's also a mentor here at the deck, a Shark Tank success whom I've got to work very closely with and exit my first business with. And we just added the president of a prominent hospitality group in Austin. We've identified our next milestones, and we've identified our next hires needed to achieve them. We are currently fundraising, so please come find me, because this is a really big opportunity. Look, you guys, if you're hungry, go to the kitchen or order in. But if you're experience hungry, check out our restaurants on WutzGood. Thank you.
All right, thanks. So what can we do as a community to help you?
Absolutely. So I'm looking for introductions to any PR firms that are focused on restaurants or hospitality groups between Dallas and Austin. I'm also looking for an expert in virality within app. So that would just really help. So.
Cool. Okay. All right. First question.
The logo is very interesting. How did that concept come about?
Yeah, I was watching Interstellar, and to me, it's just kind of like exploring the unknown parts of the known for like your city. It's like you think you know it until you walk into something really cool. So,
Got it. Let's see how that relates.
Next question.
Hi. I don't know, I might have missed this, but what is your differentiator between the plethora of food and restaurant finding apps and sites out there? Do you put better pictures up? Do you put better video up? I mean, what is your differentiator? Because there's, I've been coming here 2 years. Every other week there's probably a restaurant finder app up there.
Absolutely. So our homepage, for one, is a map as opposed to a listing or a directory. Okay, so we don't have any algorithms that push any restaurants to the top. You could open up a food truck and start creating content like right now and immediately have some visibility. For the restaurants, we're trying to do 3 things. Allow them to regain control of their brand image, give them more visibility because we don't constrain them within followers, and we want to give them a measurable ROI. So we tell them exactly which pieces of content that a user viewed that influenced them to then walk into your establishment. So they have a clear understanding on how things work.
Quick follow-up. How are you measuring data walking into that restaurant?
So, like our friend here, we have a Colby. We have geofence. We place geofences around the establishments, but we tie them to each content that the user viewed, which is really important for PR firms to prove their value to their client base and gain more clients. So, think of in this concept of a hybrid of like a Google Maps and a Snapchat. Content is streamlined. So.
Hi, Elaine, and I'm thinking, like, when I want to go to a restaurant, I tend to like to check others' reviews because I want to know what others are saying about that restaurant. So right now, if we allow all the restaurants to post their own photos and their own videos, that's always deceiving, right?
Yeah, so it's actually business and user-generated content all posted to that establishment within the last 48 hours. So the content is ephemeral, so you have a good understanding of what it's like in real time. And that's what's important to us because, I mean, imagine that you're searching for a good Valentine's Day spot tonight, right? Like, you can see what that environment is going to look like before you walk into it, and that's something, it's all visual. There's no written reviews, so there's going to be way less deceit in what you see versus like what you read that can be from months ago or a bot or just maybe a competitor, trashing the restaurant. So.
Great, thanks. Next question.
Hi, my name is Roy. I'm a UX designer. My question will be kind of follow up from the one previous person. So one is that for the restaurants to generate the content, that's the issue I was wondering, the same question I had as she had. So how would user would likely to go to your app to look at commercials essentially in that case? On the other case about having the customers to generate the content, it's like, what's the motivation behind? It's like, if I do it on Snapchat and I do it on Facebook or wherever, it's like, people crave for that boost of being liked or getting a reaction, and I don't know, I don't think it's described what's the motivation for them to do it in your product.
Got it. So you said for the first question you asked, how can they see the data?
It's like, why would people like to watch the commercials over by the business owner?
Okay.
And then the second one would be why people want to create content on your platform.
So the early adopter of our platform is a foodie. It's a food obsessive. Like right now in this phase of the game, it's going to be somebody who cares about, who's an avid reader on Eater or the local magazine about the food. Like, you want more context to your search for food that's not only user generated. You want it like to hear the voice of the establishment. Like my initial point on a chef's table, I watched all of these episodes and it's like, if I could afford it, I'd fly to all of these restaurants purely based on the craft and the culture of the establishment that I see and the fact that it relates to the mood and what I'm looking for. So that's one. The early adopter may not be all of you. It's a food obsessive, and in that we're targeting. So we have an affiliate. One of our go-to-market strategies is an affiliate program with foodies. Foodies are actually, they rank very low in terms of a vertical that is able to monetize their audience on Instagram, because they only get just free food in exchange for them. So anyways, so we'll pay them 33 cents per activation that they drive to our application, and we'll get all of the early adopters who we feel will get the most out of the content. Does that answer your question?
So following up on that point, so then the affiliate partner that you're working with, the foodies, they're basically the content generators? Are they serving as freelancers basically, or?
No, so I mean, right now in the application, when you come into it, you'll see a ton of moments generated from like interns that I had through UT. But the foodies, yeah, we do see them and their following on Instagram as being like the early content creators. What's important here is that our restaurants don't necessarily care if people come in and create a ton of content. It's more so just knowing that their content is effective. So that's why we're focusing on driving them engagement and just getting them views, everything that they need to like generate like that dopamine element. And so like that's important, because restaurant generated content is really what's going to take us into the next level and set us up for different acquisition opportunities.
It's me again, sorry. So I actually interned at a marketing company, and my job was generating sales. So I went to all the restaurants and convinced them to do advertisement with us. And there was one time we organized one Asian Restaurant Week event, and the problem for the restaurant to generate the content is they were typically very busy. They don't have extra hand to shoot a video for that. So if you want the restaurant to generate all the contents, then they basically have to pay another employee to generate the content only.
It's a good question. That's a great question. We saw a very high, an increasing value that food trucks were actually taken by the application, that they love to create stories. They're creating more stories on Instagram and Snapchat than just single location full service restaurants are. And so we expect to see a lot of stories generated from food trucks, but at the same time, that's why we're targeting PR, restaurants that are clients to PR firms and hospitality groups, because they do have the teams around them to generate that content. And so on the front end, we imagine we're going to be doing a lot of groundwork to generate content and then showing it to establishments and saying, hey, this is something that you should be doing. It's simple, it's point, shoot, and post. And we'll show you the engagement and the type of activity that can be generated from doing it without you having to do it yourself. That's how we get in there initially.
Hi, I'm Lilia Leontila. I'm from SMU, I'm a student, but I want to compliment your wonderful presentation.
Oh, thank you.
I actually like your concept a lot. And I want to ask you, do you have any ideas how you will integrate with the social platforms like Instagram, Snapchat, stuff like that?
Absolutely. Yeah, so we want to get it to a point where we can, you can share the content simultaneously. But I think for now, what we can work with is just allowing them to download their posts and also placing it on their different handles for now. So.
All right, next question.
Have you had any restaurants actually post content to your beta, or because I was an investor in a restaurant, and to get staff to actually take pictures of dishes that come out and to prod them, and even the manager to do that it's not going to happen. I had to buy a special camera and go in myself and do it. So to get staff to do it, do you have actually a plan where you're going to offer the services going and posting that content for them?
Yeah, so we actually have, so that chef's table quality content is in high demand. Restaurants want that type of content, and they want that type of spotlight on their establishment. It's just before that, on Instagram and on Facebook and on Snapchat, they're responsible for growing their following and then bringing the eyeballs to that content, which is why it's to them it's a very long hassle. So for us, it's like, create it and we'll generate the eyeballs for you. The plan for approaching that is we start off just manually creating the content. We've reached out to, we're partnered with 2 hospitality groups in Austin and 1 PR firm. And so we're just creating content for them to then like prove out the model. So. And it's also like through a lot of our research, they say that managers and just the growing trend of foodies has created more like of a like need for people to be creating more imagery throughout the establishment.
Hey, my name's Eric. I'm with a group called Boyd Shackelford and Barnett Insurance. My question is on, so creating that really beautiful image that you're getting through Chef's Table, you know, you could try to have owners or people within the restaurant trying to take these photos, and maybe it's not really delivering that image, that quality that maybe the restaurant's kind of hoping for, maybe your guys' product. So my question is would there ever be any potential of trying to partner with local photographers or something along those lines, somewhere where you guys have some type of affiliates there?
Yeah, so we kind of see this in, see like a 5-year plan turning into like a market network where we see videographers throughout like each city that we can scale to. So we are partnered with one videographer right now who's just cranking out a ton of the work. We're dropping like 30-second videos for select establishments, those trendsetters of Austin. I mean, the content is beautiful. And we imagine that other establishments will want to seize that as well, just because of how gorgeous it is. So, yeah.
So I'm imagining how things will be created, and one thing is that if it's really that polished, and then the issue will be it looks and it is actually staged. And then as a potential customer, do I want to take it as an advice for where to go or just an advertisement?
Yeah, so the 3 things that we're trying to do for users is we're trying to help you find places that relate with your mood. So we allow people to search by mood tags instead of cuisine type. And then we want you to feel more comfortable with your final decision because you can see the environment as opposed to just reading about it. And then the 3rd thing that we want you to do is we want to speed up the decision-making process through like just making it entirely visual, because you could probably settle on a decision of where to go versus like where to go in a shorter amount of time than you can if you're just reading through a ton of text. And just kind of keep in mind, like we're going, like our early adopter is a foodie, so they do appreciate this content a lot more than I think any general person who's just like, you know, on the hunt. So while it is a situational type of user that we're going after, like, hey, I'm in the mood to find places to go, it's also discovery where it's like something that you might visit 2 or 3 times throughout the week before you do settle on that decision. Does that make sense?
So my question is more on like on him is like, if you can make a really good presentation of that restaurant in a way, it requires professionals maybe, but whatever it is gonna be in high production value, and that looks not that authentic, and then that's what is gonna be missing for like it doesn't look like real customer experience to me. That's what one thing I wonder how to balance that.
Okay, my apologies there. So this is like, imagine it like you see Instagram stories or Snapchat, like the content is all in reverse chronological order. That header video is going to be that high quality content, and then it rolls into the user and restaurant generated content from the phone. So you have a lot to kind of judge your decision off of, what you're viewing there. And the one thing that we are testing, like that's important to us, is does this higher quality content receive more engagement than just regular phone generated content? And so, I mean, I'll have a very strong answer for you in about, hit me up on March 15th.
Let's see. This one thing is that you mentioned that you want the restaurants to regain the brand image. That will be one thing that is kind of kind of having some conflict in that case. Yeah.
Oh, because of the user-generated content?
Yeah.
In there? Well, keep in mind, it's all ephemeral.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all ephemeral. So the content is going to last 48 hours, and then it'll go. So if the restaurant does receive a negative review, then they have time to address it and address their team on however, and then keep things moving because things change, right?
All right, thanks. Well, it looks like we're out of time already, so thanks for all the great questions. Let's give them a hand.
I'm hungry now. So before we go into the closing comments, I have one alumni from 1 Million Cups, Kevin from Bistrack. I would like to have a question from him, like if he wants to share any of the success stories through 1 Million Cups, if any.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll try to speak loud.
Let me get the mic there.
Hi. Welcome.
Thank you, Isabel. So yeah, I just wanted to say that 1 Million Cups was instrumental in getting my business off the ground. Biztrack.io, I pitched here back in July, and I actually met the dev team that helped get it off the ground. So basically what we do is we provide step-by-step guided instructions for entrepreneurs wanting to set up, manage, or grow their business. So within each of those tracks, we have steps that you follow. And when you click on a step, we give you third-party resources, government resources, tools, estimated costs, and recommended business partners to help you in that step. So we're all about helping entrepreneurs, and we want feedback for this newly built site. So please let us know, and thank you for your time.
Tell us what happened so far, since since your last presentation.
Yeah, so our last presentation, like I said, I met the dev team. We got an angel round investment, and I've been working since September of last year until the end of January to get the development up and going, and we launched the website on February 1st. So we're very excited. We're open for users. It's free to join. And again, all we want to do is we want to close that gap and help entrepreneurs succeed and reduce the amount of failed business ventures in the U.S.
Great.
Awesome.
Okay, so then we have the startup week coming up on 2nd of April to 6th of April. That's the startup week Dallas. And if you have any question regarding that, come up front and you can talk to Chirag for that. As 1 Million Cups is a volunteer-run organization, if you have any questions or if you want to be a sponsor or if you have just any question in general, you could just come up and talk to the volunteers here in front. And DEC offers free co-working space on Wednesdays, so all the white tables that you can see on the back are free for you to use today. And it's a wrap, and happy Valentine's Day to you all.